Today we are going to continue our discussion on literacy. So last time we have initially discussed what literacy is, and we have known that literacy starts from the homes before it's going to be a responsibility of the school and of the society. Okay, so again, this time we are going to discuss on conventional literacy. But before that, I would like to share the thoughts of Karen Erickson and David Copenhaver on literacy. They said that if all children are to learn, all teachers must teach everything. So when teaching literacy, this includes working with words, self-selected readings, shared or guided reading, and writing. Okay, so that is how they define literacy. So when you teach the children literacy, it's an all-out effort. So it's not only working with words, it's also giving them opportunities for self-selected reading. So meaning to say, you start with giving them the ideas on how to read, then you're going to let them uh, choose what they want to read. And also, on the shared or guided reading, so if you remember, we have this oral reading reports or writing reports or a writing contest. So those are forms of teaching literacy. And who are these conventional leaders and readers and writers? Who are they? Okay, so we will be discussing or we will know them later on who are these conventional readers and writers. So when we say conventional literacy, that refers to reading and writing that follows the form, content, and use of standard conventions. So there are rules, syntax, grammars that you are going to follow when you are going to read, when you are going to write. Okay, so when you are going to write articles, that also depends on the type of articles you are writing. If you are writing news articles, it's different from writing a feature article, and it's also different from the writing of an editorial article. In the same manner, when you are going to write literary pieces, it's also different from writing research. Okay, so conventional literacy is built on discoveries and understandings made during the emergent literacy phase of development. So there is this term emergent literacy. When we say emergent literacy, that refers to all of the actions, understandings, and misunderstandings of learners engaged in experiences that involve print creation or use. So anything that is something to do with how learners or how they understand things or they misunderstand things when they are engaged in writing, that is what we mean by emergent literacy. And these experiences are not only necessary but closely related to the later literacy outcomes. So this emergent literacy or their experiences is very important. Okay, so because they are closely related to the later literacy outcome. And the difference between conventional and emergent literacy is that emergent literacy refers to the reading and writing behaviors and concepts of young children that precede and developed into conventional literacy. So the writing of one's name or writing simple sight words are the beginning stages of conventional writing. So that's why in the preschool level, students are taught on sight reading. So they are not really taught this phonetics, the combination of sounds, but they are taught on sight readings that if they could see the beginning letter and this is the ending letter of the word, then that is how they're going to say it. So that's sight reading. That's very important skill that you are going to introduce to young children. There are some categories of conventional literacy. So since adults are different kinds of, they use different kinds of printed and written materials in their daily lives, hence there are three types of literacy for adults. So since you will not be dealing with the young children, but you are going to deal with adult learners, you might as well remember that there are three types of literacy: the prose, document, and quantitative. So quantitative, that means they know how to read graphs, they know how to read quantitative information. Okay, so when we say prose literacy is okay, so it is also the ability to search, comprehend, and use information from non-continuous text. And these documents include job applications, payroll forms, transportation schedules, maps, tables, and drug and food labels. So this time, it is different from mainly reading what is in the article or getting information from the article. This time when we say document literacy, he can clearly absorb what is in those payroll forms. So for example, he's going to look into some details or some hidden information on papers. That is document literacy. So for example, the one that is happening now, they are going in the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing on the Pharmaly. What they're trying to do there is they are doing what you call the paper trail. So there is matching of documents from this document that is on the request to purchase. Okay, so there is a request to purchase these certain drugs, and this is the document that is attached to that. So they are trying to look into where is the lapse there. Okay, so and they're trying to find out whether there are certain violation of the laws on the Procurement Act. That's why they are looking at all the documents involved. So that is document literacy. So there is some paper trail. So you're looking into documents and trying to get the hidden message from that document. So there is what you call, if you are watching movies on CIA, on FBI, okay, so they are trying to decode or they're trying to look into some information that cannot be clearly seen on our naked eye. So an ordinary eye, an ordinary person who does not have that very strong document literacy cannot see the hidden information. So some people are very good at this one. So they are not only good at reading information that can be seen on articles, but they are good at matching. They are good at looking at a very detailed information based on documents. Okay, so sometimes they are going to trace a person, whether that person is still alive or not. So they are trying to look into the schedules, they are trying to look into the use of credit cards, and they're trying to use all the information that is derived from that person. Even when they're going to profile somebody, they're going to look into the ways of his purchase or what he usually purchased in the groceries. In that way, they would understand what kind of person that is. So that is document literacy. So that is also very important, that when you are going to become a teacher, you also have this document literacy, so that you would know that your students are not playing with you, or not doing some cheating, because they only have to change some words in the original paper. Okay, so there are softwares which can detect whether that document is legit or not. So there is what you call Turnitin. So it's going to check on similarity, and it's going to check also on the originality. So those people who developed that has also some form, the highest form of document literacy. Then we have this quantitative literacy. So this quantitative literacy, or QL, is also known as the quantitative reasoning. Okay, so if you are familiar with the IQ test, if you were able to take one IQ test, so there is what you call abstract reasoning. There is also what you call quantitative reasoning. If you are very good at abstract reasoning, then you are also very good at quantitative reasoning. So that is a habit of mind, competency, and comfort in working with numerical data. So those data scientists, they have achieved this, what you call quantitative literacy. Statisticians are also very good at or they also have this skill on quantitative literacy. So individuals with strong quantitative literacy skills possess the ability to reason and solve quantitative problems from a wide array of authentic contexts and everyday life situations. So those bankers, those in the stock market, they have a very strong quantitative literacy skills, because they were able to predict what would happen to the stock market, whether it's going to collapse or not, or whether it's time for you to sell your stocks, or whether it's time for you to acquire stocks. Okay, so when they are going to discuss behavior of the stock market, when it's a bull economy, or they have the term tiger economy, or they have all those terms, they are simply looking at the graphs, and they are trying to make trends out of the graphs. So if you are doing big data analytics, okay, so you are a person with strong quantitative skills. So they understand pretty well the data, and they can create sophisticated arguments based on the quantitative evidence. For example, the one that was the hacking of the a bank, in which the hackers are not Filipinos, they were able to trace where is that coming from, because of the footprints. So there are footprints that they discover, so they're very good at quantitative literacy, because they were able to trace the footprints. So hackers and programmers, they have their own footprints, and hackers knew who that footprint is. Okay, so it is this quantitative literacy is very important. Okay, so and of course, we are not going to discount the prose literacy, document literacy, and quantitative literacy. These are the three literacies that we need to develop in our students. That they were able to read, they were able to comprehend what is in those paragraphs, what information is depicted based on the paragraph. They were able to decipher information based on different types of documents. Plus, they were able to create sophisticated arguments based on the numbers, big data, okay, that they are mining. So the in thing now is the big data analytics. Okay, so these are the literacy that should be developed by teachers. So, I mean, You have to remember that teachers can make or unmake a child. That's why there are few who do not like mathematics, because they are not taught well in their younger years about mathematics. But I think the nature also plays a very important role in these types of literacy. It's the genetics. Okay, so, and if you remember, there are several types of intelligences. So maybe you are not very good at this one. You are not logical, but you are bodily kinesthetic. But as much as possible, we will try to develop in our students these three types of literacy: the prose literacy, the document literacy, and the quantitative literacy. So that ends our lesson on literacy. The next meeting, I will be posting also more about quantitative literacy, but this time, or more about other forms of literacy. Next time, we will be discussing digital literacy and more. Okay, so that's all. Defined as the ability of someone to search, to comprehend, and to use information from continuous text. So that is the literacy of, let's say for example, adult learners. Okay, so those understanding of prose like editorials, news stories, brochures, and instructional materials, that is considered a prose literacy. So the way they understand information on the editorials, or on news stories, or on brochures, or even on books, if they can already perform things without, or with less supervision from other adults, then that child has achieved what you call prose literacy, or he is able to comprehend what is in the editorial board, in the editorial articles. Then he has achieved what you call prose literacy. Okay, so on the other hand, if we talk about document literacy,